When you make a game every single year, innovation is kind of mandatory. You somehow have to convince your fan base or community some way to buy the next game. You have to do something with it. From the years 2000 to 2007, THQ and Yuke somehow were able to pull that off. Every entry in the WWE game series at that point had improvements over the following game, but also they were standalone. They had a unique experience to them. They offered replayability. What do I mean by that? Meaning, right now, you can go back and play any of those games, and you're going to have a unique experience to those games that you can't find in any other game. You can only experience it in that game. Now, you're probably thinking I'm saying all of this because the 2008 installment of SmackDown vs. Raw series did not offer anything new. That's actually not true. It offered a brand new game mechanic. It offered a brand new story. It offered a lot of things that started with this game. The problem with this game is that I personally feel like this game was part of a bigger vision that THQ and Yuke's had, but it required more than a year for it to be developed. That full vision was not going to be realized until the following game. However, due to the fact that they have essentially forced themselves to release a new WWE game every year, they had to put out something. And that something was SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. On its own, a perfectly good game. But unfortunately, got hit with the yearly release cycle curse. Because due to many factors, this game has a hard time convincing you to replay it once the following game came out, which was SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. Now, before I unpack all of that, just want to quickly go over that this game released once again on pretty much every single console. The Xbox 360, the PS3, the Wii, the PS2, the PSP, and the DS. The Xbox 360, PS3 versions are once again identical. The Wii actually, for the most part, threw away a lot of the motion controls that was in 2008 and tried to adapt some of the styles in Xbox 360, PS3. You get a unique experience in the Wii, which I will showcase later. But they tried to slowly push it towards the Xbox 360 and PS3 direction. The PS2 is just a downgraded PS3 version, and then the same thing applies with the PSP. Unfortunately, the PS2 and PSP also suffers from not having a very specific game mode in it. And then you have the DS with its own unique experience in and of itself. Get all that out the way. The back cover of this game, again, they made sure to every game case had its own graphics on it based on the console. Together, you're unstoppable because the main selling point of this game was actually the tag team gameplay. They introduced a new tag team mechanic, a bunch of new tag team features, which we'll obviously go over. But that leads me to that intro that I gave. Is part of the problem with SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 in retrospect. The marketing itself. The whole marketing of SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 was, alone you're great, together you're unstoppable. They focused on the tag team. There was other stuff in this game, but they really wanted to hammer home the tag team aspect of this game. That's not an issue. The tag team stuff is fine. The issue is that there was a stronger candidate to focus your marketing on, and for some reason it baffles me why they did not focus on that. We'll get to what that was in a moment, but it's just by focusing on the tag team aspect of the game, we're like refining the tag team matches. So now you can do hot tags, tag team moves, tag team finishers, all that good stuff. That's great. Honest to God, that's good. Problem with that is, to the casual person or regular person who will buy this game, they think that's essentially the whole point of the game. What they fail to realize is that the tag team aspect of this game, the new mechanic, only represents a barely 5 to 10% of what the actual game has to offer. So the main marketing of this game only represented a very minor portion of the game. Let's look at SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, for example. Whether you loved it or you hate it, the fighting styles was the main marketing selling point of the game. to the point where that's what the whole game was about. Now, once you play SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, the entire game evolves around the fighting systems. What do I mean? No matter which match type you play, whether you're in 24/7 mode, GM mode, assuming you played the matches, when you're creating your superstar, it always involved the fighting styles. The fighting styles was literally 90% of your gaming experience when it came to SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, whether you loved or hated. SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, allow me to show you what I am referring to. The tag team aspect they are promoting is literally confined to this match and this match, to a point, this match. That's essentially what their entire marketing was. Now, there's nothing wrong with that per se, because the actual tag team experience of the game was perfectly fine. However, there was a stronger candidate, which was Road to WrestleMania, which we'll be looking at briefly later on. Road to WrestleMania offered 6 unique stories that you can only find in this game. Triple H, CM Punk, Undertaker, John Cena, Chris Jericho, and Batista Rey Mysterio as a co-op story. Why didn't they market this as the main selling point of the game? I have no idea. Or were they not confident of what this mode had to offer? I just don't know. Because in terms of longevity, you're getting more out of this than the tag team mechanic. Because each story mode, roughly, is about 3 hours, just for each one. However, there's a branch with each one. So if you go one way, you get unlockables of that side, and you have to replay it again to get the other set of unlockables. So essentially, it entices you to play each one of these twice. So now that doubles the replay value. So if you were to add all these hours together, 3 times 6 is 18, and you double that, you're looking at almost 40 hours of gameplay with just Road to WrestleMania, assuming you're just not purposely speed running through it. Why was that not the marketing of this game? By marketing it with just a tag team, what the problem, it wasn't a problem then, but then it became a problem a year later, because SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 offered the same exact tag team that was in SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. There's no difference. So once you play 2010, there's no reason to go back to SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 for the tag team aspect. Had they marketed this, the argument would be, well, you can only experience these 6 stories through SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. See my point? It's like, there's simple stuff like that. What do I mean by that? Look at it like this. One of my favorite games, surprisingly, is not a wrestling game. It's actually a JRPG called Tales of Symphonia. Now, the Tales series is a long-running series from Bandai, and for the most part, they play the same. But the reason why I like Tales of Symphonia is not really because of the gameplay, it's because of the actual story. You can only experience that story in that game. No other game has that story. That's why I replay that game all the time, to experience the story. By marketing SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 with just a tag team aspect, which is in the very next game, they kind of boxed themselves into a corner with this game. And once again, as I said, the problem with SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 is that this game, I feel like, and it's clear as day if you look at SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, this was part of a bigger vision that THQ and Ukes had. They just did not have time to implement it in this game. Parts of it is in it, like create a finisher and highlight reel, which we will look at, but because they did not have time, they needed an extra year to put all that together. We got this. I consider SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 more like a prototype of what they actually wanted to put out, which was SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. Because honestly, as long as you don't, for people who never played this game, which again we're going to showcase it momentarily, as long as you don't play 2010, you're going to get a different experience from 2008. But the second you play 2010, what's the reason to play this game? They're basically the same exact game. One just has way more stuff than this one. They are literally the same. Everything that is in this game is also in 2010, but everything that's in 2010 is not in 2009. See my point? What also did not help this game is that for the first time in 3 years, THQ and Ukes were actually making more than one WWE game for multiple consoles. And that was Legends of WrestleMania. Now, this is not about Legends of WrestleMania. We're not going to really be talking about Legends of WrestleMania. The only reason why I bring this up is because this game is the reason why there's no Legends in SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. They purposely took them out just to sell you this game. This game is, I mean, again, this is not about Legend of WrestleMania. In summary, it's okay, I guess. It's pretty much a quick time event for wrestling games. But the game greatly affected the content depth of SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, because Legends were essentially a thing for almost, at this point, what, 2003, 2009? For like, what, 5 years now? People expect Legends in the roster. Because of that, they took out Stone Cold. Yes, you cannot play Stone Cold in a wrestling game back in 2008. No Rock, no Hogan, etc., etc. All because of that. This is the only SmackDown vs. Raw game I only bought once. First of all, welcome back, homeboy. And that's the reason why. It's like I rebought SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. I rebought all the games that I have, and I also had 2009 for the sake of just having it. I never rebought 2009. I had it for PS2. I never rebought it in case my game broke. I eventually got it for Xbox 360 for demonstrations like this, but I don't really play it outside of showcasing stuff like this, because 2010 just expanded upon everything 2009 did and did it 10 times better. That was the point I was trying to talk about when it came to replay value. They unfortunately shot themselves in the foot by marketing the tag team aspect, where they had something much greater to market. It just blows my mind why they did not market Road to WrestleMania. And also, it did not help marketing tag team, where the tag team scene itself back in 2008 was kind of in the toilet. For those who don't know, in 2008, the tag team division was just there. They were just having people work singles wrestlers become tag team to win titles. Case in point, John Cena and Batista. CM Punk and Kofi Kingston. Did you know when this game came out, the actual tag team champions were CM Punk and Kofi Kingston, again, 2 single stars. And then for the SmackDown side, it was the Colognes, Carlito and Primo. Primo's not even in the game. So it's like, this is my point. It's like you're focusing on the tag team, and one half of the tag team champions not even in the game by the time the game came out. So yeah. Now, with all that said, I believe THQ and Ukes knew that this game kind of had its problems, to the point where for the first time in any WWE game, they offered DLC. Yeah, this was the first. If you're wondering, when did DLC start in SmackDown vs. Raw, or in WWE games in general, it was this one right here, SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 DLC. I just wanted to showcase this off first. What's up, Slade? How you doing tonight? Thanks for stopping by. The 2009 DLC. Now, this was actually, now that I thought about it, in hindsight, this was the reason why I had to upgrade to an Xbox 360 to play these games. I didn't play it. SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, my experience was on the PS2. Because I realized there was DLC for these games, it made me play the next one, which was SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, on the Xbox 360, which is hilarious because there was no DLC in SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 outside the pre-order bonus, which we'll get to tomorrow. So that is very unfortunate. So the 2009 DLC. Yes, for March, so it was a roster update. You got Charlie Haas, Chris Jericho in his trunks, because Chris Jericho did come back in this. Evan Bourne, Rey Mysterio, which I believe was just his 2008 attire from SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Super Crazy, which would be his final appearance in any WWE game, and Ted DiBiase. Chilling, enjoying stream. I'm glad you're a part of this, man. Hope you enjoy it. Again, I don't know if you were here earlier. SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 just unfortunately has no replay value. Not because the game itself is bad, but just once you play 2010, it becomes obsolete. And then you had alternate tires exclusively for the PS3, which is very baffling to me. I will tell you why eventually. It had Kelly, Marina, Santa, Kane, which unfortunately Kane during the Attitude Era, when he was literally on roids with the mask, MVP, Edge, Rey Mysterio. And then roster update 2, which was just putting Saul into the room. There was actually Legends that they put as DLC. The Bushwhackers, Doink the Clown, Earthquake, Why Not Typhoon? I actually have no idea why. And Vader. And would you believe me if I told you DLC only cost $4.99 or 400 Microsoft points? Obviously, I was on Xbox 360, so I had the Microsoft points I would have been using. But again, I didn't buy 2009 on Xbox 360. It was just 2010. And then Another update was essentially allow you to play with these characters online. But yep, if you guys were just a quick tidbit on that, PSC Atari exclusives just for that console is crazy. What's crazy to me, because again, I'm not a console war guy. It's just crazy to me that the marketing of this game shifted. As I told you guys, up until now, the marketing was purely on the Xbox 360, but they shifted to the PS3 to the point that they had a special edition, which we will go over. It was which we'll go over eventually, a special edition just for the PS3, and it's like, why? The Xbox 360 is sold just as much as the PS3 at the time, probably more, because they were still recovering from that $5.99 fiasco. But yet they're just pulling through. And once I showed you comparisons of the game, the Xbox 360 version is still the superior looking version. But before we get to that, again, we're just jumping through some stuff. SmackDown Raw 2009's cut content. Not a lot, but there's just some noteworthy stuff I just wanted to talk about. First of all, the prototype, there's none really to the prototype, to be honest with you. I looked at it, so there's no point opening it up. Just some leftover stuff about 24/7 mode. So they just kept it in there. They didn't bother taking out the text files and that. There was a test model that was used just to test out some stuff. But the main thing about 2009 are two cut characters. Well, one, technically. One's actually in the game. The DLC was supposed to also have the Godfather. For some reason, they never publicly announced him, and they never released him. He's in the files of the PS3 version. So if you ever somehow want to just hack your version to PS3 just to play as the Godfather, he's in the game. The funny part is they use this exact same model. They remade the models for the hose and the exact same entrance animation for WWE 13 4 years later. So it's like this exact same model they just used for 13 later, but it was sitting in 2009 the whole time. And then Tori Wilson was clearly supposed to be in it because her unused music is in the game, and her preset entrance motion, they updated it, is also in this game. But for some reason, I guess because her departure, they decided not to put her in. It would have been nice, but that's why her next appearance is now in the current game, 2K26. So yeah, just wanted to briefly touch on the cut content and just that part for SmackDown Raw 2009. Now we're actually going to showcase 2009 and showcase, once again, the main selling point of this game, which was the tag teams. Again, I must stress, I don't want people to think like I hate the game. I don't hate the game. It's just, unfortunately, falls victim of a yearly release cycle where, actually, no, we're not going to do that. To get the best experience, you actually want to use a computer. It falls victim to the release cycle. Now, I could use DX for this, but we're actually going to use instead the Hardy Boys. I feel like are the best way to experience the tag team. And who are they going to face? I don't know. Paul London and Brian Kendrick, which is also the debut of these two in this game. So again, we're going to look at the entrances because why not? And just cool, unique stuff. Again, I'm going to showcase everything that 2009 had to offer that was new. Because there is actually a lot of new stuff, and one mode that actually pretty much was a precursor to Universe mode actually started in this game, which I'll show off eventually. And then once again, it doesn't really help matters that SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 pretty much looks identical to 2008. While the graphics were greatly more, updated for 2010. Because they were actually, to be fair, they were using a new engine in 2010, so that also did not help. It did not help that Jeff Hardy pretty much had the same exact attire, just like Matt Hardy. It's like, 08 was very bad, though. As I talked about in the 08 stream, it's not bad, it's divisive. Because if it was bad, it wouldn't have sold as many copies as it did. Let's just be real. Again, the problem with 08, first of all, thanks for stopping by, Colton Cyclone. I don't know if you've been watching my streams recently. Essentially, this is a 25-day event, shameless plug, 25-day event where we're going through all of the main WWE games to see how we got to 2K26. So we're now... No, it's all good. So now we're on day 9, which is SmackDown as well. No, we're on day... Jesus Christ. We're on day... This will have to be day 9 or 8. 2009. Regardless, we're on here now. So we talked about 2008 yesterday, so if you want to, you could just watch that back after this. So you just hear my thoughts about it. Again, I was actually a big fan of 2008. I personally like the fighting styles because I don't think they were bad, and I still don't think they were bad. There are flaws with the game, don't get me wrong. 24/7 kind of sucks, as we played through yesterday, but I don't fault the developers for that because their sole focus those last couple months was to get rid of Chris Benoit in the game. So they couldn't, that was their only job, was to get rid of Chris Benoit. So whatever stuff that they had planned for the game, they had to stop it right there to make sure there was no existence of anything about him in the game. But I also like 2008 because, again, there's a reason, whether you like it or hate it, there's a reason to go back and play that game. So, in terms of gameplay, it's almost identical to 2008, the running and stuff. There are some slightly new additions, not just for tag teams, but the game itself in general. For example, which we'll talk about. Actually, I'll showcase it more after the tag team part. One thing about tag team, as you see right here, they both share one bar. So for tag team matches now, whether it's good or bad, depending on who you're asking, they both share the bar. So if you're gaining momentum, if you tag in your partner, they have the same amount of momentum. Plus just brand new tag team moves. I just thought the game was very slow. I think 09 runs a little bit more smooth, but yeah, it's almost identical. I mean, 09 is basically 08 just with the updated tag team mechanics. That's essentially it. And again, I didn't mention this yet. I gotta get out of here. I didn't mention this yet, but essentially the biggest criticism, as you said, was the fighting styles. I mean, you didn't say it, but I'm assuming that was implied. If you're not a fan of fighting styles, then 2009 is essentially the game for you, because essentially they removed the fighting styles and they just gave people abilities. Wondering what I'm doing, I am trying to get my hot tag up. So we can do a hot tag. And yes, you store signatures now instead of a finisher. So now people just have about 6 abilities each. And now I have the hot tag. Matt did it, so now we're going to do a quick time event. And essentially, for the most part, once you do that, if you hit your finisher, it's basically over. Unfortunately, you only get 1 hot tag per match. I mean, yeah, I just think fight styles weren't meant for a pro wrestling game. Again, I have no problem with, I'm always a fan of innovation, right? You're doing something new. Again, you gotta look at it from the perspective of the company. They have to release these games every single year. I don't fault youth for trying something different. Was it well received? It was 50-50. Like I said, some people love it or hate it. You can't deny that it was the best-selling wrestling game at the time, but people love it or hate it. I have no problem with them innovating. If it gives me a reason to now play the next game, because now it's a different experience, sure. Unfortunately, 2009 is not that. And you see, now we're doing the tag team finisher. Oh, what's up, no one? Okay, I gotta get out of here. And now I get back in. Another thing that they updated was the camera, but I can't really showcase this off. I mean, I can't really showcase it. If the camera sucks in here, but they have like a dynamic camera once you go outside. Thing is, you can actually distract the ref, and it helps. What I could do, you say this is what I meant, the camera, but the camera is like 50-50. You either are going to have a good time with it or a bad time. Maybe just because I also thought this era WWE I didn't like as well. Well, in case you remember, history lesson, the game was being developed in the Ruthless Aggression era, but the game came out during the PG era. So it's like, it's a very weird... Shit. Hold on. And plus, see new animations to kick out. You can turn off this camera. Yeah, I could, but again, I want to authentically give the experience that 2009 was meant to have. Whether it's good or bad, I'm going to look at the game objectively, how they were marketed and how they wanted you to play it. I'm just gonna let it speak for itself. Yeah, plus Benoit stuff kind of affect the game too. As I said, well, it affected WWE in general, arguably, because they went. I mean, people always say Chris Benoit forced them to go PG. I don't think that was the case. It's just, I guess they realized they could get more money that way by marketing towards kids. and parents, which, I mean, obviously it's true, but it's just, is wrestling meant to be PG? Or I guess the question you have to ask yourself, the direction, because of the Attitude Era, which was arguably their most successful era besides now, money-wise, was that sustainable? They only went to the Attitude Era to fight off WCW. They did went through a rough patch. It took a minute for them to recover, like, because people just had that. It was just a horrible thing that happened with the whole Benoit thing. I mean, they finally got through it, but it just, I feel like the PG era is looked at as like a weird. There was some. I mean, I personally had no issue with the PG era, personally. Why does he keep playing possum? How is that possible? I gotta tag myself back in, but now they're kind of back into something money-wise, but creative direction-wise. Well, that's the thing. Money trumps all. I know people don't like the direction that the company probably is, but here's the reality of the situation. I know do I probably sound like a TKO shill? Probably, but here's the reality of the situation. The people who voice their opinions of the product on the internet do not speak for the people in the crowd. Regardless of what you think was happening, people would not be paying those tickets if they did not think the product was good. That's just the reality of the situation. I know that's not what a lot of people like to hear, but I think, I hate to use my example, AEW to extent TNA are perfect examples of the product was good. Their attendance would showcase that. You can't base, because the problem with basing an opinion from the internet is that they are a very loud minority. They are very loud. Do not get me wrong. They are very vocal, but they do not represent the entirety of the community. And I think Nick Khan said that himself. Yeah, they don't. I know people take that. they hate when he said that, but it's just facts don't care about your feelings. Now, Hardy, why are you not doing anything? Oh, that was actually cool. I will give them that. That was actually cool. What is Jeff Hardy's signature? Is it the reverse twist? Is it like, I don't know what is Jeff Hardy's signature. Can I look it up? I think this is the first time you can actually. Can I? No. It's 2010 when you can do it. Whisper in the Wind? Probably. Actually, it probably is. Whisper in the Wind. It probably. That's what I'm about to say. What the hell is his signature? But I would like to do it. I love the crowd chant. Please don't. God, the reversal of Paul, like him reversing is crazy. God damn it. Matt Hardy, why are you not doing anything? Do something. Let's see. You got, and he just reversed it. Wow, this is crazy. Okay, Matt, you're going to deal with Paul. I don't know how to deal with this guy. This guy's ridiculous. What do you guys, I'm assuming those watched WrestleMania and Raw after WrestleMania and SmackDown. What are your thoughts of now that the week? That's a good question. What is Paul doing right now? Now that WrestleMania week is officially over, what was your thoughts on it? For those who watched it. Yes, I know the releases happen. They suck. I have my opinions on that, but they get my issue is not really the release, it's just the people react to them. It's I'm not saying it's fake, but it's very performative, because it's like this happens every year. This is nothing new. People get released in this company every single year. This is not some new foreign concept. I feel like people pretend like the pandemic was the first time WWE released superstars, like, or WWE released superstars. Ever since then, like, it's like WWE bad. I'm not saying they don't do bad things, but it's like that's not one of them. This is something that they've done since the beginning of times. But why are y'all making such a big deal out of it? Yes, I know some of your favorites got released. Some of mine's too. Don't get me wrong. I also say majority of fans that go there and attend also have to spend their entire bank account on. But that's entirely my point. They really think what they're offering currently is fine. You speak with you speak with your wallet. If they did not think it was good, Matt Hardy, what are you doing, bro? Get back in here. Or is that Paul? Oh no, actually it's London. I'm crazy. I'm actually legal. Actually, Matt Hardy, you were doing the right thing. Go ahead and do exactly what you were doing. Keep that guy out there. Keep him out. I could just hit this whisper in the wind. Why? Oh, okay, I'm about to say, why was he? I was about to be so mad. I was like, why does he keep reversing this shit? There we go. The difference is that they released top mid-card. The amount of people who got released at once was jarring. Well, here's the reality situation. I mean, if we have time, I'll talk about the releases. But I'll just say this bluntly. The people who got released outside of like 3 people, and those 3 people off the top of my head are Kairi Sane, Aleister Black, and I guess if you wouldn't consider Uncle Howdy, sure. Outside of those 3 people, everyone else who got released was not doing absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. Yes, I included Motor City Machine Guns. I like them, but they weren't doing anything. I know they were building towards Johnny Gangaro, but they obviously have a different plan for Johnny. Good or bad, I don't know, but they changed course on that clearly. They clearly are doing something. They're going to do something different. Otherwise, he would have got released. People saying there are going to be more releases coming on Monday. I highly doubt it because the lineup was both Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. So I think whoever got released were going to be the people who got released. But for at least in this wave, maybe in the next 6 months, sure. But I don't think I would be shocked if anyone else gets released on Monday. It could be a TKO. It is a TKO. Again, people don't understand. WWE is like WWE is not them anymore. It's TKO. They make the decision. I know, like it's a hard concept. They don't care about. They could give 2 iota that Kairi's like they don't give a fuck that Kairi Sane was part of storyline Asuka and Io. If she's not drawing, if she's not making a connection with the fan, I'm not saying that she doesn't, but my point is their logic is if she's not bringing in the dough, which let's be fair, she's not. Let's just call a spade here. She's not a draw. She's a character. I love Kairi Sane to death, but she's a character. She is not a draw in the main roster. If NXT was still black and gold, that's another story entirely. Let's just call a spade. Kairi Sane is not a draw. She's a character, and she has a purpose on the roster, but when it comes to money, though, it's like, what value does she have? Who cares about the story? At the end of the day, the story is about Asuka and Io. It's not going to pull in, I swear to God, Matt. Like, I swear. They are kicking our ass. I don't know how this is possible. Well, I will say, people complain about the difficulty of SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. They greatly made up for it in this game. I can tell you that much. Nope. All right. Matt, I swear to God, can you just take him out? I will try to take out Paul London, all right? The TKO made this decision, Paul. Again, like as I said, same thing with Jengar. They could probably have people saying like Motor City Machine Guns are now gone, so they can't do the Johnny Gangaro story. Whatever. At the end of the day, I'm shocked. I mean, I'm not shocked that Johnny Gangaro's not that he's not. How does he keep doing this? How many times does I swear to God, Matt, you better kick out of this, Matt. Matt, you suck. All right, we lost. But this was the tag team aspect of this game, by the way. Oh, my flipping. He sucks. Matt, what the hell, bro? I mean, it was a good match, but it's like, what the hell? We were supposed to win that. I mean, mostly were tag champs. It seemed like they were in the mix of carrying tag titles for a minute. Then the division started to whittle. The problem, the Motor City Machine Guns, again, there's a bigger notice that you've been skipping entrances. No. I'm surprised you didn't do Hardy versus DX because I didn't want to do Hardy versus DX because I'm going to showcase Triple H's road to WrestleMania. I'm trying to showcase superstars that I'm not going to be using later on in the stream. The problem with the Motor City Machine Guns and the release in general is part of a bigger problem. You know what? I know this has nothing to do with SmackDown Raw 2009. We're just going to pivot for like a quick second. Bear with me for a moment. I just want to show you guys something about the releases so you can get my thoughts on it. It's very simple. There's the bigger issue that not a lot of people, some people talk about. The problem with the releases is that this coincide with the current direction in the company. There's no live events. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, here's the current lineup. Again, I live in Philadelphia. Raw's coming to Baltimore, cool, and then he has Saturday Night Main Event in New York. Let's see the next time there's a show that has nothing to do with Raw or SmackDown. That's a live event. Right now, today is April 26th, right? You have NXT live events, but sure. See, I'm going. The European tour, May 28th, right? Okay. And then the entire Europe, again, while they're over in Europe because of Clash in Italy. So, and then you have the tours right there. Cool. This is the problem with the current direction of the company. By them having no live events, and when they do, they're so far apart. Today is April 26th, so the next live event is not until 32 days from now. Do you see the problem here? For 32 days, Motor City Machine Guns were going to practically be doing nothing. Apollo Crews were practically, I know Apollo Crews on main event, that's a joke. The point I'm trying to make point is they were not going to offer anything of value until these live events show up, because that's when you're going to throw them and just have these do the tours or whatnot. By them not having live events, they can't do in the raps. They can't connect with the audience. That's the biggest thing. By having no live events, these people cannot connect with the local audience, because people who are buying those live events are the hardcores of the hardcores. So if you could convince them to like you, then eventually the casual audience will start to like you in those cities. By having no live events, how can any of these people connect with these superstars that weren't already established to begin with? See the problem? It's a double-edged sword. Essentially, you basically, if you don't start in NXT and you come to the main roster, case in point, Motor City Machine Guns, you have like only very few times to get over. Now, there's some exceptions. Case in point, Penta is a perfect example. Did it help that he was in AEW? Perhaps, but people love Penta. Where's the Inferno match? Where is the Inferno match? I never thought of it like that. That's just my perspective. Where's the Inferno? Oh, there it is. It's the second match type. Yes, this is actually a new match type that was promoted as well. And for the purpose of this, we're actually going to use Kane. That's why I was saving Kane, not doing like the Brothers of Destruction. It's like, again, people really thought TKO, again, I'm not defending people. I'm not defending the releases. Do you really think TKO just said, you know what, we're bored today, let's just release 20 people out of their jobs? No, they looked at the books. None of these people are offering any value to TV because they're not on TV, and they're not doing anything else to make them money. The live events would have probably helped them make money. They don't do live events anymore, which you can, whether that's good or bad is up to it's up to your opinion on that. But since they're not doing, part of having a big roster is to tour. That's literally the whole point. Remember when 205 Live was a thing? The whole point was them to eventually have a tour, which they did a few of them. They weren't successful, but Vince McMahon tried to get some type of money out of these guys. Why not use Trevor Murdoch? Well, why not? And that's why they had tours of that. Without live events, it's very few chances to get over with the crowd if you weren't already over. Again, Motor City Machine Gun, unfortunately, they weren't in AEW, so that didn't help them. They were only in TNA, and then outside TNA, they went to like New Japan and Ring of Honor. To the casual WWE fan, they have no idea who they were. Had they started in NXT, I know it's going to sound like beneath them because of their age. They probably had a better chance. That's why even AJ Styles said so himself. Everybody who comes in this company has to go through NXT because WWE is just completely different. Imagine Ethan Page is probably going to have a better shot than Motor City Machine Guns and Sting because people grew to like him. Same thing with Ricky Stanks. Same thing with Blake Monet. They all came from AEW, but by them starting at NXT, the hardcore of the hardcore audience, mind you, NXT is not a casual audience. You have to be the most hardcore wrestling fan to go to NXT. Like, right? It's the third show. If they start to like you, then everyone else, then the casuals are slowly going to start to like you. Because they see what's happening on Tuesday. A few people that they see what's happening on NXT on Tuesday, it's going to eventually adapt on the main roster. Perfect example, Oba Femi. Imagine Oba Femi just started on the main roster. You'll probably be dead in the water. It's just your best shot at surviving WWE is to go through NXT. That's just the reality of it for this new audience. That's just the reality of the situation. Another Omos. Luckily, I think the only thing that's saving Omos is he's just tall. You can't replace Omos. I guess that's the best way of describing it. You can't replace Omos. So unless they have a replacement for Omos, Omos has value. I mean, can he move? No, but at least no one's tall as much as like him. I mean, that's my point. Like, they eventually got rid of Braun Strowman. I don't think they got rid of Braun Strowman because of who? because of Omos, obviously. I think they got rid of Braun Strowman because there's just so many people of his size can do exactly what he does, but slightly better. Bronson Reed is a perfect example. He's a big guy, but he can move better than Braun Strowman. No offense. And I was always a huge fan of Braun Strowman. But now talking about the Inferno match for a second. Again, brand new match to this game. Was slightly marketed towards, but not more so than the tag team match. Surprised Kane has the lockpick ability. I gotta show off the abilities in a second, which we will get to. But essentially the whole goal, 400 degrees, I believe, and then you gotta throw out your opponent. Now, I will say, this is one of the few matches where the current game actually improved upon this version. There's nothing wrong with the match, like, of it. Oh, but thankfully, 2K26 improved upon it so much. You can add weapons, make it fun, all that good stuff. What the hell is that? Why do they just reverse everything? Good lord. I'm gonna have to knock down the difficulty. I really don't want to do that, but it's like, you guys are just gonna reverse everything. But I just really had to do damage to you to do something here. This is like the most generic powerbomb that everyone has. That's absolutely hilarious. That's his finisher. I've seen that exact powerbomb in SmackDown versus Raw. That's funny. Yep, just reverse everything. Try to reverse that. Try to reverse this. I guess it can't reverse combos. So that's my Kane's about to be a sacrificial lamb. Whichever freaking Murdoch. I hope not. I'm trying. I really hope not. But him reversing everything is gonna start to look like that. Good lord. Great. So it's actually 300 degrees instead of How do you expect me to attack him if you're just gonna reverse everything? Make it make sense. There we go. Only took a minute. So, and he's bleeding. Cool. By the way, this is also the final game. Even though I haven't touched it upon this point because it hasn't really been a thing to talk about. This is the final game to have intergender wrestling for quite a long time. I kind of like that they changed that you don't have to send your opponent to your finisher. Yes, and that was introduced in 2007, I believe. I forgot to mention that in there, but thank you for bringing that up, no one. Yes. Starting with 2007, it was the first time that you can just hit your finisher without stunning your opponent, which is very helpful. And it's also realistic because sometimes finishers just come out of nowhere. They're not in a groggy state. I'm trying. Just throw him out. Yes. Yes. All right. There we go. And then you get this cutscene, even though it's the wrong way. Whew. And that was the new match type that they introduced in this game. I am like 90% sure Championship Scramble is not in here. That's the following game, which they really need to bring back. I don't know why I have not brought back Champ. Yep, it's not in this game. So that's pretty much in terms of the new match types in this game. Again, all of which would be in SmackDown Raw 2010. You know what they removed though? We're gonna talk about that. They removed General Manager mode. Why? I have a theory. But before we get to that, where is it? Oh, we'll get to career mode We're gonna talk about my WWE. Why? Because this was essentially, you know how in today's game you could edit your roster. This was essentially the bare bones versions of that, and they removed Barrier Alive, and they removed being able to fight into the crowd. They removed so much crap; it makes no sense. So this is the best way to describe this is a early version of what you see in today's game, where you can just, it's a roster editor. You could pick a superstar. You see her team, which is none, and her abilities. Now this is what I was talking about. All right, unfortunately I can't edit set ability, which sucks, but I can't edit their abilities, which is very weird. I don't know why I can't do that. You look at superstars, you could actually change them to clean or dirty. The brand, Raw, SmackDown, ECW. And title, you can give them whatever title you want. Obviously, for the Divas, it's only the women's because that's the only title that they have, which you get the idea. So, same thing with team management. So, just overall, a very early universe mode or superstar management. Kind of sucks they removed. Hello, where you rank this SmackDown versus Raw game? Well, first of all, thanks for stopping by. I don't believe you stopped by my streams before, so thank you. Where I rank this SmackDown versus Raw game? Again, it's not a bad game. The issue, I don't know if you hear my 20-minute rant earlier. The issue with this game is once you play SmackDown versus Raw 2010, there's no reason to come back to play this game because every other game up to this point it had replay value. There's no replay value once you play 2010. There's no incentive to come back unless you care about the Road to WrestleMania stories, which we will get to momentarily. The one thing I want to show off before I show off Create a Finisher, I think my controller's busted. I'm gonna have to change my controller for the is career mode. Now you're probably wondering what the hell is career mode. Well, think of it. No Legends 2. Yeah, I did talk about that. They purposely took out the Legends to sell Legends of WrestleMania. And you know what makes it worse? It unfortunately doesn't. WrestleMania has a feature where you can import the 2009 roster minus a lot of like ECW superstars and divas into the game. So you can play your whole 2009 roster in Legend of WrestleMania. You can't do the reverse. And freaking you can't do the same thing vice versa in 2009. So it's like this, I personally feel like this game was meant to just to sell Legends of WrestleMania. And I am convinced now that I'm thinking about it. They use this game to just sell Legends of WrestleMania because you get a bigger roster, even though the game sucks because it's just quick time events. You get the roster is way more bigger once you do that. For the sake of this, we're just gonna pick Jesus. Who should we pick? Edge. Why not? Rather play, and that I know. You see, you're with me again. People, regardless of whether you're not a fan of 2008 and the direction it took, there's replay value to it. I mean, if you're playing G mode, I already go back to 2007. But at least 08 has 24/7 mode, which depends on whether you like it or not. Another 08 lover. Yeah, again, I like it. So again, this looked like when I was so played as a kid, I thought this was going somewhere. I was like, oh, cool. You get to update the roster. This is GM mode, right? Little did I know there was no GM mode in the goddamn game. I thought this was going somewhere. It was not. And yes, you have Tony and the Masked Man. You know what? We'll add them to ECW because why not? Good old Tony, the legend himself. The ECW roster needs to be stacked. I thought this was like going somewhere. I was like, oh man, this is cool, right? No. So what happens is once you pick your roster, right? I'm trying. What's happening? What? Wait, what? Change. What's happening? Why can't I? You can either use the default roster or customize your own brand roster. Just use the default. Okay, I don't care. I'll start on United States Championship hat. They did Charlie Haas dirty in this game. Well, he's DLC, so that doesn't help either. So this is literally the extent of this is what I mean with career mode. This is the extent of it. They put you in a belt position, United States title. You have to, this is essentially like the back in the day arcade, climb up the ladder, you fight the champion. Okay? So this is the extent of it. This is like the relic of what was left of GM mode and of 24/7 mode from 08. Your current path is this, right? You get, well, save the game, because that's obvious. Yes. What I really want to show you is the stats. Okay, and the abilities, attributes, the abilities, right? I don't think can I customize them? I can't customize it. What was the point? The whole point is I wanted to customize it. Why can't I customize it? It's so stupid. I guess I had to show it off in Creative Wrestler, which I guess I'll go over too. But that's all. This is literally the whole point of the game. Essentially, this is more so for your creative wrestler than anything because you get more stats updates. This is essentially the best way because Edge is going to start off at 36. You might as well just play with your creative wrestler at this point. So, yeah, this is it. This is so redundant to me. I love how you could download music in your console into the game. Thankfully, the benefit of being on the Xbox 360, I don't think the PS3 had. Did the PS3 have that? Because if they did that, I simply only remember. Okay, this is getting annoying. I'll be right back, guys. Give me like no more than 2 minutes. I'm gonna have to switch my controller out because clearly this is bugged. I'm gonna have to just hopefully my controller connects. So I'll be right back. Game, your last shot to play as him back then. But while 2K15 gave us a superstar who left without warning, the next game brought back a Legends Pass that many fans had never even seen. WWE 2K16 had the biggest roster the series had ever seen, but its greatest unlockables weren't just legends, they were beginnings of a superstar's legendary career. This game was all about Stone Cold, his rise, his rivalries, his retirement. But what made the showcase mode special was how far back it went. Before the beer, before the what chance. We're talking stunning Steve Austin in WCW and superstar Steve Austin during his short but iconic run in ECW. Two versions of Austin that most fans never got to see on TV, let alone play in a video game. To unlock them, you had to complete the 1994 Bash at the Beach match for stunning Steve and finish all special objectives in a Mikey Whipwreck vs. Austin match to get his ECW version. Superstar Steve never appeared again. This was his one appearance in a WWE video game, and while 2K16 gave us Stone Cold's forgotten past, the next game brought back a voice fans haven't heard in years. WWE 2K17 brought back the store system. No more locking characters through matches, you had to buy them with virtual currency. But hidden inside that massive roster was one superstar fans haven't seen in years, Road Dogg Jesse James. He made a comeback in WWE 13, and then vanished from the games completely, even though he was under contract, even though he was on TV in 2014. He somehow didn't make the cut for 2K14, 15, or 16. So when he popped up in 2K17, it was easy to overlook, but it meant everything, because now you could finally reform the New Age Outlaws with Billy Gunn, and this was the last time you could do it on disc. To unlock Road Dogg, all you needed was 15,000 VC. 2K17 gave us a forgotten piece of history, but the next game brought back a legend whose return was long overdue. WWE 2K18 had the biggest roster in wrestling game history, but its best unlockable wasn't new. It was Eddie Guerrero. Now here's the wild part. This was Eddie's first on-disc appearance since 2K14, 4 years without one of WWE's most beloved legends. And while he was technically in 2K17, it was as DLC. And that DLC is now gone. The game's been delisted for years, so if you didn't already buy him back then, well, that means Eddie doesn't exist in 2K17 anymore. That's why 2K18 felt like a real comeback. You could unlock him for 5,000 VC, and considering the game starts you off with 30,000, there is no excuse not to bring Latino Heat back to your roster. Ever since then, he's been in every game. But while 2K18 brought back a legend who never should have left, the next game gave us an unlockable that most fans didn't even know existed. WWE 2K19 was the end of an era, the final WWE game made by Ukes, the team behind every mainline game since the original Smack. Alright, we should be good now. I apologize for that. I don't know, I guess I went to buy a new Xbox 360 controller. Cool. Now where was I? What else was, oh, I have to show off, where is it? Create mode. For me to show off the abilities thing, we're gonna have to do create a superstar. So just, actually I'll just use a template, because why not? Create a superstar for the most part. The reason why I haven't touched on create a superstar, I was purposely waiting for SmackDown versus Raw 2010, which will be tomorrow's stream. I haven't really touched on create a superstar because I think the best experience started with SmackDown versus Raw 2010, which I was going to save it more so for tomorrow, as I haven't really touched it outside of the second game, SmackDown 2. I just want to show off Come on. Yeah, I'm on. Okay, got it. Got it. Got it. Get it. Got it. Good. All right. So what are you guys talking about? You're saying who had the best road to WrestleMania? That's not how stupid silly it was. I mean, again, road to WrestleMania, I just don't understand why didn't they market it as the main thing for now. Where I believe because now I have a creative superstar, I can start having abilities, but where do I have said abilities? I just want to show off the abilities, man. That's all I'm trying to do here. Where are the abilities? You think I played GTA 4 more than this? Did GTA 4 come out at this time? Right? Wait, did GTA 4 come out the same year as this game? Did it? I thought it came out a tad bit earlier. This is 2008. Did GTA 4? I don't remember. 2000. Oh, same year. So this game had an uphill battle to fight. Good lord. I don't remember that. Is it my WWE? The roster editor. Cool. I have a default person now. Got it. Abilities. Why can't I click it? Oh my god, they're making life so difficult. Okay, let me show you. I know where it is. So since I have a default superstar now, I can show you the abilities. You go to game modes because essentially default, cool. Damn, who remembers Elijah Burke? I do. I actually liked his brief feud with him and CM Punk. But they put on some good matches. I'm not gonna lie. On ECW, same thing. He started United States champion. Cool. Get it. Got it. Good. All right. You have to go to moveset. Probably. I did. It was not there unless I was missing something. Rewards received. I believe. Where is it? Do you unlock it? Is it in moveset? I don't. I thought it was gonna be here. I legit don't. Am I having a memory? Your abilities, which I don't have. Okay, here it is. There you go. Found it. Here's the abilities list. It was right here the whole time. All right. So essentially, for those who hated, my apologies, guys. For those who hated the SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 fighting style system, but they rectified that. So that's why this is pretty much the same game. They just separated everything into abilities. So superstars can have up to 6 abilities. KO, which essentially hands your ability to KO opponents. The lockpick, which is from submission. The referee shield from dirty. KO match specialist. Move thief. Still taunt. The object, the hammer throw. Resiliency, durability. Kick up, bloodshed, which is the hardcore one. The fan favorite, the ladder match. The outside dives. The cage match. Springboard, submission. Possum pin. You get the idea. So essentially, had the best role. Oh, WWE 12, hands down. WWE 12, the epic cinematic masterpiece that was WWE 12 Road to WrestleMania. And I'm glad they ended all that because there was no way they could top it. There was no way they could top that story. I played 09 because of Big Daddy V, and he is in this game. Is he in 2010? I don't remember him being in 2010. I think he was, which was his last appearance, but he definitely was in this game. So his debut of Festus. Actually, we're gonna look at the roster briefly. I just want to show that off. And one thing I also want to show off, because essentially the rest of the stream is going to be showcasing off the road to WrestleMania. I'm saving the actual good part of this game for last. No, he wasn't 2010. Okay, so he was only in this game. Underrated one was 2011 because the only time Ray was a heel in this game. I liked 11 because of the. I think my personal favorite was the Christian one and the Undertaker one. Cause I'm just Undertaker's my favorite wrestler. So creative wrestler. I mean, yeah, creative wrestler. Creative finisher debuted in this game. Why is it not in the current games? I wish I had the answer for that. But it's not. So basically, I used to always make the burning hammer. You can essentially just go crazy as much as the game allows you to. So for example, I feel like this control is also busted. You can finish it right here by just doing a simple DDT or execution, but now you can just go a little bit more crazy. But obviously the further you go, it's going to be a lot more complicated. You do that, and then You can finish it right here, but you can keep going. Stand. You can do so much more. Like, this was the craziness. Should they bring this back, get rid of showcase mode? As I've said, so yeah, you're probably new here. I've said this before. The issue isn't showcase mode, because showcase mode is the excuse to put in superstars that would never normally be part of the game. So showcase mode has a purpose. I'm trying to. Then we're gonna do another 360. No. Do this, and then boom. Let's see what this made. So essentially, this is what we made. The showcase, the only good thing on 2K. Like, again, the issue isn't the showcase. Here's the real issue that people don't understand, and I want to explain why it's the real issue. So you see, you could just I just made a delayed suplex. I know I could go a little bit more crazy. I'm just not that creative. Let's just start from the beginning. The game mode that they need to get rid of. I mean, they're never gonna get rid of My Faction, the island. So that's we're stuck with those games. What they need to get rid of is My Rise. Allow me to explain. My Rise takes away of the story aspect that could be used for any of the wrestlers in the game. That could be the new road to WrestleMania. Here's what I mean. First, this is just personally me. I don't know if anyone else feels this way. If I want to take is it because certain wrestlers are in different companies? I never played My Rise. Boring. No, it's because 2K24 showcase was terrible. Oh, I can't wait to get 2K24 once we get there. I'm so ready for 2K. Talk about 2K24. But the issue with My Rise is they're devoting time into something that's pointless because it's not my experience, right? They're forcing you to create a wrestler to play out a story that they want you to see. I know that happened in 2K19, but the biggest difference between 2K19's create a wrestler story in my career and the My Rise stories is that 2K19 story was made by developers who actually know what a wrestling game is. Ukes. The visual concepts, again, this is nothing fault against them. I'm not a game developer, but I do know for a fact they have no idea what a wrestling game is. I can just see it for myself with the career. They don't know what a wrestling game is. They just don't. It's just they're forcing you to create a superstar to play a story they want to play out. My issue with that is it's so redundant because that's what universe mode is for. If I want to put my create wrestler through a story that I would like to make for myself, either bring back create a story or universe mode. I don't care about whatever story you're trying to make me play through. I don't care. So why are you forcing me to create a wrestler? The only reason why it made sense, the only reason why it made sense for WWE 12 is because it was a 3-part story and the ending was your creative wrestler. So of course I had no problem creating a wrestler then because I played through Sheamus and Triple H's story and those ended. But there's only one story left. My Rise is just your creative superstar, but it's like I don't care. I don't care about the story that you put in there, which is kind of gonna suck anyway. The only good one honestly was 2K25 with the whole mutiny thing. They finally decided to combine the stories and they made one cohesive story, which is all I ever wanted, and they made it work. 2K26 is dog shit. I'm sorry, I just have to say that because all they did, SmackDown versus Raw. The problem with SmackDown versus Raw season mode is that it was just character swaps depending on your brand. Someone must have been a fan of that. I can tell they were a fan of that because they had When Worlds Collide is in the soundtrack. Someone was a fan of that, and they did the exact same thing with 2K26 My Rise, but it was just a gender swap. It's not even the fact that you can have a good short story. Road WrestleMania was only 3 hours. That's not the issue. The issue is they didn't even try. There's basically, once you play the men's My Rise, there's no reason to play the women's outside of a gender swap. It's the same exact story. It's literally the same exact story. Unless insert where Jacob Fatu was, insert Roxanne Perez. Same exact story. No spoil. I mean, without spoiling, obviously. Let's try to do something different real quick. Let's just do. We'll try to gut kick. Sure. This. That's fine. Gut buster. You could keep doing all these moves. Yeah, now we're getting creative here. Then the face plant. Oh no, how it ended. I want to see how far I can get. What is the craziest move I can get without finishing it? Do it again. This controller is also busted, but and then let's see how that came out. Western Freema. That's another, unfortunately, that's, I mean, that's just another situation entirely on itself. That was one of those situations that's not just a WWE thing, that's a in general thing. But that's not, or that's, unfortunately, that's not what this stream is about, so I want to go that route. I don't want people to feel offended. That's something another day. They should go back to where season mode you could pick your current wrestler instead of creating your own. I think you could pick a current wrestler instead. Yeah, that was, you know what that was called? That was called SmackDown versus Raw in 2006 and 2007. Those games were fun. Again, it's like even 2008. Those games, even though 2008 24/7 mode was 07, 06, and the original SmackDown versus Raw were perfectly fine. Even obviously, Here Comes Pain was a perfect example of that. I can see the redundancy factor because of universe mode. I'm not even looking at the finisher. And boom, that's what we made. Perfect. I just wanted to showcase that all. Unfortunately, there was no diving. I believe 2010 you could do a diving move. But yeah, just again, in its infancy. And then the other new thing was the highlight reel. Where is it? Where is it? My WWE. The highlight reel. Which I don't think I have any clips anyway. I think the best story mode was Day of Reckoning. I liked the first one. The second, I mean, I liked the first one. The second one was, I never truly completed the second one because that cage match was so goddamn hard. How we go backwards because it's the developers. They don't know what a wrestling game is. I've been trying to tell people that. When we talk about 2K25, which is the finale of this whole event, when we talk about 2K25, is there any video clips? Of course, I had no video clips. So we got it. We'll do one. How do you even save a video clip in highlight reel anyway? I don't recall any of those saving, so I don't know how they expect me to do that. But again, highlight reels. I mean, there's no need to showcase highlight reel because it's essentially the same thing as the current games. But before we get to Road to WrestleMania, which is pretty much the last thing that the majority of the rest of the stream is going to be, just showcasing part of the story for each one. You should definitely play Day of Reckoning 2 story mode. I have no problem doing that. Is anyone still playing AEW? I don't think so. Which game is my favorite? You see, that's my favorite. Gun to my head. I know I probably shouldn't say that. If this was the end of the world and I could only play one wrestling game, God, that's such a hard decision. Personally, I think it's Here Comes the Pain. Universe mode wise is WWE 12. Like there's so many, like overall. You see, yeah, I can safely say Here Comes the Pain. There's nothing, there's more to be said about Here Comes the Pain. I have no problem playing that for the rest of my life. If it like best mode to play though would be WWE 12's universe mode. That's my favorite. What about in general? What's your favorite game in general? To get my overall best experience, it will be SmackDown versus Raw 2000. No, WWE 12. I can stay with WWE 12. The reason why I say that is because the Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell is my favorite match type of all time. That game has the expanded Hell in a Cell where you have weapons in it and you can freely do moves outside of the cell. I hate that, again, just because sometimes they had to take liberties with certain stuff in game, and Yeeks understood that. Visual concepts have no idea what they're doing. The Hell in a Cell, I should be able to do whatever I want outside the cell like they do in real life. People do finishers outside of the cell, right? I get that they want to make a realistic looking cell. That's great. Awesome stuff. But now you're restricted. You can't really do anything. You can't use weapons outside the cell walls or whatever. That's forced you to go outside. But normally they never go outside the cell anymore. So all the fights happen inside the cell. You can't get those certain spots because they made it so compact that you really can't do anything outside the cell without breaking the cell itself. But in the previous games, which we'll eventually get to with 2011, you can just literally fight outside the cell and it feels awesome because that's how it was in real life. There's so much room. They made it by making it too accurate to real life. You can't do anything outside of stealth. Sometimes you gotta take liberties at some point. For God's sakes, they have stupid abilities and paybacks in 2K26 about with superpowers and stuff. They can take liberties. They can take liberties with certain stuffs of the game, but they have to be realistic in others. Pick a lane. That's my current issue with this game. They take certain liberties and stupid stuff, like the stupid My Island crap with Roman Reigns. He has superpowers and whatever. He's teleporting, whatever. That's perfectly fine. But you can't make the Hell in a Cell a tad bit more bigger so I can have weapons outside of it. It's like, what are we doing here? Why am I losing my mind out of this? Legends of WrestleMania Hell in a Cell is actually the worst than any iteration. I mean, they perfected it in the GameCube games, and they took that and put it in 2011. That's why I love 2011, 12, all those games. How many wrestlers in this game that are currently still wrestling now? We were about to look at that as I went on my little rant, so I apologize for that. we were going to look at the roster. I always try to showcase the roster. Give me 1 second. Whoops. 1 second. But yeah, that's just my issue with the current games, is that gameplay-wise, it's probably the best we're going to get. And that's perfectly fine. But they take certain liberties with certain stuff which makes no sense. It's like they're just playing in my face at this point. So we're perfect. Do you want a realistic wrestling game or not? I know they don't. So we can do stupid paybacks with flying, meditating, teleporting, all that fun stuff, right? But you can't give me the freaking expanded Hell in a Cell. Well, 09 was all about tag team match, and no, they promoted that about tag team matches. The problem is half this game, the Road to WrestleMania, there's barely any tag team matches outside of the actual tag team campaign. This is what I mean. They promoted the wrong thing. It carried for 4 years. We're gonna get to again this event where we're going through it all. Wrestling games are bad. Current wrestling, they're not. No, there are certain standouts. I'm not going to completely shit on it. For example, from 2K22, 2K26, 2K25, and 2K26 are essentially the best versions that we got of wrestling games. 2K22 is fine, but 2K23 and 24 were pointless games. We will get to why. They were pointless games, and 2K24 especially hurts the most because they had one job. They had one job. But we'll get to that. We'll get to my grievances of 2K24 eventually. They had one goddamn job and they blew it with 2K24. But alrighty, sorry about that. Now we're on to the roster. SmackDown's for all 2009. We're gonna separate them by roster. Sir, I'm pretty sure there are multiple tag team matches in every story. I couldn't play online. I mean, are they though? I mean, obviously, I must not remember that then. I don't recall that. You might. I'm not saying you're not right, no one, but I don't recall it. I don't distinctly remember, obviously, just the campaign. I know CM Punk tagged with, I think, either Tommy Dreamer or Taz in the ECW one, and John Cena teamed up with Tony. But other than, I think he did. But other than that, I don't remember anyone else having really tag team matches in their thing. But if that's the case, that helps that actually justifies my point even more. To look at Ha. So yes, the Raw roster, you had Ashley, which I believe is her last appearance in the WWE gaming series, right? Batista, Beth Phoenix, Candice Michelle, which also I believe is her last appearance. Charlie Haas, the return of Chris Jericho. Chuck Palumbo, I believe, is in 2010. CM Punk, Undertaker had that zombie. Triple H had Shawn or Randy. I must completely misremember these story modes. No, I remember Undertaker design part. I don't recall them being tag team matches. Certain parts of that game. Cody Rhodes, who makes his debut. Wonder what he's doing nowadays. Hardcore Holly, who was in SmackDown vs. Raw 2008's DS version of the game, but they finally decided to put him back in this one for one more game. JBL, Jillian Hall. Is she in one more game after this? I do not remember. John Cena, JTG, Kane, Kelly. Kofi Kingston makes his debut. Lance Cade, I believe this is his last game. Layla, Melina, Mickey James, Mr. McMahon, Paul London. Is Paul London 2010? Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, the debut of Santino Marella, Chad, Shawn Michaels, Snitsky, which I believe is his last game, and Ted DiBiase, and William Regal. For SmackDown, Big Show, I wonder what Chad's doing now. Fortunately, he passed away. Yes, arguably the best website for if you're this essentially is the Bible of wrestling games, is the best way to describe it. A wrestling game information. I praise these guys that the only people who are doing it. Big Show, Brian Kendrick, Carlito. Yeah, he did pass away. Carlito, Kurt Hawkins makes his debut. Edge, Festus, who is Jeff Hardy. Sometimes people forget that this is actually Luke Gallows. Jeff Hardy, Jesse, Jimmy Wang Yang, Maria, who looks horrible in this game, by the way. Michelle McCool, Mr. Kennedy, MVP, Ric Flair, Shelton Benjamin, The Great Khali, Trevor Murdoch, Triple H. Was Trevor Murdoch on SmackDown? I remember. Really? Did he ever show up on SmackDown? I do not remember that. Can anyone remind me of Trevor Murdoch being on Smack? I do not remember that. Umaga. I remember Umaga being on SmackDown because he was beefing with CM Punk. Undertaker, Victoria. That's actually one of his last storylines, actually. Victoria and Zack Ryder. ECW. You had Big Daddy V, Chao Guerrero. Why did they have the best render of Great Khali in this game? I don't know. Took me years to realize Luke Gallows was the other Kane in that storyline in 2006. Well, at least they had to find someone to equal height. They were able to get it. Chao Guerrero, Elijah Burke, Evan Bourne, Finley, Hornswoggle only as a manager, John Morrison, who's finally now under John Morrison, Mark Henry, Matt Hardy, Super Crazy. Very weird that he was DLC and this is his final appearance. Taz, I believe this is Taz's final appearance as a wrestler. The Boogeyman, The Miz, and Tommy Dreamer. I think he went to TNA right after this, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. The Boogeyman, The Miz, and Tommy Dreamer. Murdoch won. Did he? Like, I do not recall. Like, I remember Lance Cade had a singles run before. I definitely remember Lance Cade's singles run on Raw. I thought Trevor Murdoch got released once it was just Lance Cade as a single superstar. I genuinely do not remember he was a freaking person on SmackDown. That's crazy. Obviously, we got the GOATs, Masked Man and Tony, the DLC, but I didn't talk about the legends because there are no legends in this game. And this is a bigger issue. It's like they screwed me out when I played this game as a kid on the PS2, so I never got any of these wrestlers, which sucks. I wanted to play as Evan Bourne so bad, but I had to wait until 2010. It sucked. And then you have the NPCs again, Hornswoggle. You get the idea. And then obviously you had a cheat device. You could just use these models that are in the game. But there you go. We'll talk about the soundtrack. Now we'll talk about the soundtrack at the end. So right now, I think I pretty much covered everything that I needed to cover in that aspect. For the majority of the stream, we're just going to focus on the Road to WrestleMania. Just the first halves of these, just to showcase, again, arguably the best part of SmackDown Raw 2009, but for some reason they never marketed it that way. Which one do you want to go with first? Triple H, CM Punk, Undertaker, John Cena, Chris Jericho, or the Airborne or Swanton Bomb? Oh, Airborne. It's just the way he does it, Evan Bourne. I don't think anyone can do the Airborne, which is just a shooting star press, like Evan Bourne. So which one do you guys want to do first? I was thinking just going from left to right. I think now I'm gonna have to I might have to switch screens because if I remember correctly, a video is gonna play first, and we can't have that here. No, sir. Jericho will do Jericho. Let's see. I'm like so afraid that a video is gonna play. I just gotta have it right here. Yeah, so let me just. So we're gonna have to wait a minute because I don't want to skip. I want to show you guys how this actually started with Road to WrestleMania. It's playing in the background in my ear. I'm just waiting for it to stop showing the video feed. Right, it's going. There we go. Unfortunately, damn, the music is still playing. God damn it. Stop.
I am here to entertain the people, to save them from their boredom. their agony, the adulation of the millions of Jerichoholics is all the thanks I need. Well, maybe a championship reign or two thrown in for good measure, huh? And what better time to shoot for that than on the road to WrestleMania?
So, as you can see with that, the presentation just got cranked up to 10 compared to SmackDown Raw 2008. This is like, again, where it's focused. It was just the end. I always liked those. It was so cool. He didn't have a mic. He's just talking like he's just talking. It was just so cool. This is like, why did they not market this as the Nothing Like Jericho looks like the call version of looks like the call version of JBL. That's funny. Yeah, Jericho did look weird in this game for his first comeback. I guess they didn't really. Why are they? I'm gonna have to put it right here because the music is still here. I'm gonna have to mute the music in the story mode once we get to that part. I'm just gonna show you on this screen. I'm gonna put on the subtitle, but as you can see, like, look at this. They're showing the commentary. With Jerry Lawler and JR. But yeah, Jericho did look weird. And the funny part with Jericho is his interest music. It wasn't accurate. Like, it's just a different version of his what. Why did he not put in his regular one in this game? I don't know what was the reason. It was a mistake, clearly. Were they not paying attention? I don't know. It was just one of those weird things where it's like they didn't even put in his right music. It was just so strange. So right off the bat, you get the mail and phone, but let me just, where is the options? Where are the options? Sound. So it is the FS set. For fuck's sakes. Everything's off, so why are they screwing me? Game options, subtitles, we're gonna cut that on. We're gonna keep it on normal. Entrance, cool, whatever. Good stuff. Mail and phone.
I know you want to be in the WWE Championship picture, Jericho, but so do I. We'll see which one of us wants it more tonight.
So again, there's some aspects kept from 08, like, again, talking, the voicemails and stuff. Some of the stuff that they did keep. We're just gonna start the match, and we'll see how this plays out. Again, it's a focus, unlike the previous games where you pick whoever, everyone does the same thing, just roster swaps. These are focused stories on the road to WrestleMania. Now, obviously, there's drawbacks. They're short. Like I said, you could pretty much beat one mode if you're not speed running through it for whatever reason in like 3 hours. Crazy how Jeff Hardy was supposed to be at WrestleMania this year. He was? Really? What stopped him? Was he supposed to be in the ladder match? Or are you talking about in the context of WrestleMania 24? Was he not in it? Was Jeff Hardy not in WrestleMania 20? I don't remember. Actually, I don't think he was in WrestleMania 24. Oh, yeah, he wasn't in WrestleMania. You're absolutely right. He wasn't. Why was that? Oh, you're right. Oh, yeah, and he dropped the title to Jericho. You're absolutely right. He dropped the title to Jericho, right? That makes actually so much more sense now that I think about it. I do recall that. It was Jericho he dropped the title to. It's probably why Jericho got stuck in this Money in the Bank ladder match to begin with. I always thought it was weird that his first WrestleMania back. It was Jericho, right? I'm not tripping. Or was it Jericho? I think JB. No. Who had the Intercontinental title? He was supposed to win the ladder match too. Well, I mean, it delayed his eventual crowning of. He does look like a creative wrestler. Now I'm looking at it. If it wasn't for the beard, he's literally a creative wrestler. Oh my God, Chris Jericho. They did not try. Luckily, he looks way more accurate in 2000. Like I said, 2010 is a different engine. I think they didn't have time. It's so weird because the development cycle of this game, they should have had. You would think they would have more time to put Jericho in. They had his body for sure, but his face looks nothing like that. They got the hair, but his face is, I don't know what the hell. I mean, Jeff Hardy, he was just, yeah, he was on drugs at the time. So I do wonder though, how that year would have looked if they would have had they also created a damn DLC for Jericho. Yeah, with the alternate tire for his trunk. So it's like, again, they were Chris Jericho was the main selling point of the game. He was back. Everyone loved Chris Jericho. But he does not, you're right, he looks nothing like his goddamn self. At least 2010 he does look more accurate to how he should be. so strange. He came back in December. They had plenty of time to have his likeness corrected. Were they actually face scanning people at this time? I know not everyone. They did face scan a few people. There's a behind the scenes video of them face scanning like Santino, Kofi. So like there was certain people that they correctly face scanned. So I just don't know why. I don't want to do my finisher yet because he was near the ropes. I could have just done a code breaker though, to be honest with you. Also, it's just me. Undertaker's new game doesn't look like himself. Bro, I don't think they face scanned the Undertaker in a while, so he probably looks. I think the last time he probably face scanned him was like 2K19 because of WrestleMania 34. I don't think they face scanned him in 2K20. I don't think they face scan no one in 2K20 because that's a can of worms we'll eventually get into. I think the last time like Legends got scanned properly was like in 2K19. That's why Macho Man. I mean, well, Macho Man. Some people because they're dead, but it's like some people just look weird. Here's the thing about 2K20. It's playable now. It's actually I know it's one of those things. 2K20 is actually playable now. It's a playable game, and it's actually a decent game if you ignore the horrible story mode. In terms of writing, that crap is horrible. It's actually a playable game, and it's a fun. I mean, yes, there's still a few bugs left, but it's playable. But it just what is it? First impressions matter. What's the old saying? Well, people you tend to not judge a book by its cover, but people with 2K20 100% did at its first glance. But now the guy got patched up. But no one wants to give it a chance anymore. Thoughts on this WrestleMania, the original DLCs? Yeah, this was the first game I showed you earlier. Well, I don't think you were here for that. This was the first game that started DLC. And it was cheap, $5. You got, what, 8 wrestlers for $5? Say what? Thoughts on this WrestleMania? I am a fan of, like I said, innovation, different stuff. For some reason, there was a lot of people that hated the graphics or the presentation of WrestleMania. I liked it because I knew what they were going for. WrestleMania 41 was about Las Vegas and whatever, so they want to do 2 different versions of it. They want to do the destroyed version, like a Fallout and Mad Max style in the beginning, and then they did, and I told my friend this. I was like, what they're gonna do, how to set up, because he was wondering why there was a futuristic one. And I said it like in 2 hours before it happened. I said, watch them somehow destroy it, and then it's gonna become like a futuristic one. And that's exactly what they did to a T in the beginning of the show. I knew that's what they were doing. I liked it. I liked the design because it felt like 2 different shows. Because for some reason, people had this weird thing that WrestleMania Night 1 is not the real main event or whatever. So they had to like really beat into your heads. Not everyone, like the people who are arguing that. Yes, these are two different shows. I liked it. You should have intervened. Yeah. He was in the crowd for the Cody and Randy Orton match. Now, in terms of the actual show itself, I thought Night 1 was fine for what it was. I feel like, unfortunately, when you do a 2-night card, there's going to have one card that's going to look better than the other on purpose, obviously. Obviously, Sunday's card on paper looked better than the first night. Don't get me wrong, the first night had some good matches. Perfect example, I would argue the best match of the night. Yeah, a lot of that, but I would argue the best match of the night was the Gunther and Seth Rollins. They literally stole the show night 1. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton was fine once they took out, obviously, Pat McAfee. I thought the match itself was fine, but just terms of from beginning to end, Gunther and Seth Rollins was night 1's the best thing on night 1, hands down. For night 2, obviously, the highlights were clearly Brock and Ova and CM Punk and Roman Reigns. CM Punk and Roman Reigns probably had the best WrestleMania singles match in a very long time. They just did the weird heel turn in the middle of the match. For whom? Am I misremembering someone who turned heel in the show? The 2 cards perfect. Yeah, WrestleMania 40 had both cards, Cody and Randy. Oh, you're talking. Wait, Randy Orton was already a heel, right? My Chris Ward. Randy Orton was heel. Just people were just cheering for Randy Orton.
One, two.
Oh my God, Jeff, what is? How many code breakers do I have to do? Cody was doing low, bro. I must have missed that part. I must have missed that part when he did the low blow. But I think the whole point was just he was just pretty much. I think the whole story of that match was Cody Rhodes just doing whatever it takes to make sure he got the Randy Orton and make sure he won the match. And I think again, I first think they were just playing off the crowd. People were cheering for Randy Orton, despite the fact he's with Pat McAfee. So Cody Rhodes was just playing off the crowd. Okay, you're gonna boo me anyway, so I might as well do heel tactics. I'm not saying that wasn't originally part of the match. Why are they playing the music? And yes, Shane was in this game. Fortunately, I'm just waiting for them to cut off the music.
Competitors for next week's #1 contender fatal 4-way match. The others.
And yeah, so this was essentially Chris Jericho's main story. Wondering where the masked man came from? It was in this story, as you're about to, where you're gonna eventually see.
What was that all about?
You think Brock will retire? No, it's obviously, it's clear as day. They're just saving for. I think Brock's gonna retire in his hometown at SummerSlam in Minneapolis. So that is his hometown, right? I'm not tripping. And he's gonna face Gunther. I think because remember he was supposed to face Gunther at WrestleMania 40 anyway. Obviously, that match did not happen due to reasons which will eventually tie into 2K24, which we'll talk about. I'll just save it up top here. There's too many. I have 3. I must really like playing Chris Jericho's story mode, don't I? Can't you tell how much I love playing Chris Jericho's Road to WrestleMania? Gonna tell by the amount of saves that I have of him. I think Brock's body just nah. They did it. Wait, why did I not just did it not save? Am I tripping? Are you sure you went over it? Yes, I do. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna back out of this and go to another one. Now, I think, like as I said, it's meant for Gunther. Remember, Gunther with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman owes Gunther a favor, so we're gonna see this cutscene though.
Hey, Junior.
What do you want, Jericho?
Maybe world peace, the jetpack. But why don't you?
What is that thing in the back? Anyone notice that? Look, it's a blackout thing. What is that?
Do anything.
I was talking to some of the crew after the show, and they said.
What is that in the back? You see that? Yeah. What the hell is that? I guess that's a plant, but that doesn't look like it. That's a very poorly rendered plant.
Oh, okay, my mistake.
It's a it looked like just a big blob, but now okay, now I see the plant. I was about to say, like, what the hell is that? I would play this, but we're not going to. Again, I just want to showcase the other Road to WrestleMania stories. If it was up to me, I'll book Oba and Gunther and SummerSlam. That's a WrestleMania match. Again, I think they're thinking, well, I actually it's hard to book WrestleMania because obviously crap changes. Remember the original WrestleMania plans? Apparently, well, actually, it was clear as day. The clear as day WrestleMania match was clearly supposed to be Roman and Seth for sure before Seth got injured. That was like clear as day. I don't know. I know it was rumored CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. I just didn't see it. But it was clear as day Roman and Seth, and that we're never gonna get that Roman and Seth match. I think they're gonna try again eventually at Wrestle. Why not try it next WrestleMania? Hopefully Seth doesn't do anything stupid. But yeah. So which one you guys want to see next? I guess we can do CM Punk because this is the only ECW story of any Road to WrestleMania. And that was always a huge wait. What the heck was that? I think someone's just subscribed. I appreciate this. I appreciate the sub. I did not catch your name, but I did see it. Unfortunately, again, we just have to wait. But yeah, this is the only ECW story. But yeah, Roman and Seth was clearly supposed to be one of the main events of WrestleMania. Hopefully they could do it this year. This year, I can't really predict what's going to happen. I think one of the main events have to have Oba. Also, which Punk Team Deeper. I always loved This Fire Burns. I was always a This Fire Burns guy. There we go.
My addiction is wrestling. With no toxins and no distractions.
I mean, I have no problem with Code of Personality, but This Fire Burns. It fits CM Punk.
But I still want to go farther. I have a feeling it won't.
Oh my God, look at his eyes.
I welcome the bumps on my road to WrestleMania.
Again, I like this. I like Punk because, again, I was always a fan of ECW. I know people hated the rebrand. I was a fan of the show for what it was. The hour programming. It came up with some good people. Crazy how it was going to be Randy's team. I know. He didn't like it, apparently. He didn't like it, apparently. So. It doesn't fit him. Like, yeah, certain themes fit superstars. Like, yeah, Fire Burns fit him like CM Punk's like a glove. So does Glorious, was apparently supposed to be Shinsuke Nakamura's theme, but they fit perfectly with Bobby Roode. So like certain themes just work for superstars. Alrighty. So again, CM Punk's story, he's currently on ECW. And also, you can tell when this game was developed. Remember, this game came out in November of 2009. Of how it's iconic, red sun, exactly. So this game came out November, 2008, correction. CM Punk was already on Raw with the World Heavyweight title. Actually, I think he just lost, actually, no, correction. He just lost it because Brady Orton punted him in the head. So Chris Jericho is actually the current world champion. But the time the game stopped development was around August, so Punk was a world champion. But clearly they made the road to WrestleMania while Punk was still in ECW. So there is that. Also, because Triple H was still on Raw and he was a SmackDown superstar at this point. And Jeff Hardy's just all over the place. Jesus, they just put him... He was just in Jericho's story, but here he is on ECW. Now, it would have been cool to see Jeff. You see, ECW, this man didn't try. Imagine having, he had Matt Hardy in ECW, which is fine, but imagine having Jeff Hardy in ECW. I get it was going to hinder Jeff Hardy being the star. I understand, but imagine Jeff Hardy on ECW. It would have been crazy. That would I think that would have made people actually watch ECW more. I mean, sure, you had Matt Hardy, you had Christian, you even had Kane at one point, but you can only do so much to have some star power. I know that they eventually turned to simply a developmental thing because you got Sheamus out of it. They redeveloped Zack Ryder. If this was like 2007, yeah, like if they would have put Jeff Hardy immediately on ECW, like when Kurt Angle was there, oh my god, ECW. And when RVD was there and Sabu, this would have been the most watched. I know Jeff Hardy came pretty much right when Sabu was out the door, almost, but it was like, oh my god, the insanity of ECW would have been crazy. And then with CM Punk there too, it's like. But I guess some stuff isn't meant to be, because obviously we eventually got CM Punk and Jeff Hardy rivalry, which is arguably probably the best SmackDown stories of the brand's history. CM Punk and Jeff Hardy. And that was during the PG era. Again, PG era had some of the best, even though, yes, you can argue they went PG, they arguably had some of the best storylines in WWE history, at least in modern times. CM Punk came out, like, that was so fun. Still love how Jeff Hardy actually left Punk beat him in the steel cage. Well, because I didn't realize, like, again, he failed the drug test, and then he eventually said, screw, we're going to release him. And then it didn't help matter, they went to TNA right after that. Yeah, again, I really like the fact that you could hit the finisher out of nowhere. What is CM Punk's? Oh, I know what it is. The running knee. How could I forget? There we go. Did people really stop watching once Jeff left? It's not that people. No, people watched. I think people just legitimately did not know where Jeff Hardy went once he got fired from SmackDown. I was still watching. Because Undertaker, I mean, as long as you have Undertaker on my show, you're perfectly fine with me. Undertaker's my favorite wrestler of all time, if you couldn't tell. As long as Undertaker's on the show, you're good with me. And I think CM Punk, I think people took a liking to CM Punk more once he was on SmackDown. He became a heel. Again, the straight edge society. Stuff like that. Like, they were in tune with Jeff Hardy. I mean, they were CM Punk basically filled the role of the Jeff Hardy in the spot of like the hardcore fans liking someone. Yet you are a Raw fan. Again, Undertaker's my favorite wrestler, but Raw is always my favorite show. It's a complicated thing. Undertaker was most of his career was on SmackDown, but Raw is my favorite show. It's complicated. Even though, despite the fact that when I was a kid, again, my family was poor, so I only watched Raw because of the Raw rebound. But I always preferred Raw. I thought just Raw was just story. It was story driven. He works as the Messiah. So that's what I said. Like, some of the best storyline people still talk about to this day came from the PG era. That's why I have no idea why people piss on like 2010. Like, you talk about terms of quality wise and matches, sure, who cares? But at the end of the day, WWE for most part about stories. It's about the stories that you remember. People always reference the freaking. People reference Nexus, regardless of how it ended up being. That happened during the PG era. People reference the pipe bomb. That happened during the PG era. Like, you see it's like, this is my point. It's like, there's so much stuff people always reference and talk about how it's so good, but that happened during the PG era. But that's the same era that people tend to hate. After the pipe bomb, which happened during the PG era. Case in point. I'm not saying there weren't Punk fans during the Russo aggression era. Freaking Viper 09 Randy Orton. Guess what? Everyone's favorite version of Randy Orton? The PG era.
1, 2.
Like, it's so crazy. That's why the Shield debuted during the PG era. There's so much stuff. The Wyatts too. What's worse, Super Cena or Reign of Terror? I would argue Super Cena, but not for the reasons you think. It's not that I hated John Cena. I feel like nothing was accomplished with, because you got to look at it like from what did Super Cena accomplish? Nothing for anyone. Like, not just John. I mean, besides just John Cena was already a star. No. Here's my rationale. John Cena was already a star at that point. There was nothing established for that. There was no benefiting, unless the only person that benefited of Super Cena was CM Punk. Essentially, that was it. Randy Orton didn't get benefit. He was already a bona fide star. Triple H Reign of Terror benefited two people, Randy Orton and Batista. They were not going to become stars if it wasn't for Triple H's Reign of Terror. So I know as much as people hate that, it actually created two new stars. Granted, CM Punk was already a star in his own right, but he became a bona fide star. Coming for years, basically, Babyface, Hulk Hogan was. But I know, no, that's what I say. But like, I'm talking about, it didn't. But he was already like, there was. My point is, Cena didn't need the title, is what I'm trying to say, for that long. He was already the face of the, like, you could be the face of the company and not hold the title, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, you got some great stuff out of it. Don't get me wrong, like his feud with Umaga, stuff of legends. He was Shawn Michaels, that hour match in the UK. Like, the hour match in the UK, like, crazy. But it's just like, it didn't need to be that long. Jesus. And again, it's about who did it actually benefit? Remember, Super Cena lasted for like over a year. The only reason why it stopped is because he got injured. Think about it. The reign of Super Cena, his first reign, I'm talking about his never-ending year-long reign as WWE champion, only ended because he got injured. No one actually beat him for the belt. I think that's the biggest issue. If someone were to actually beat him for the belt, then I think people will look at it a lot differently. He was in a giving era. Exactly. Well, he even said it funny. Actually, I listened to the Undertaker podcast. He even said it too. He weren't doing nothing after he beat The Rock. He was like, all right, give him the US title, put people over. Yeah. You know how many superstars got made out of that US Open challenge? Sami Zayn. If Sami Zayn did not go through that open challenge, I don't think the main roster could care two craps about him. Remember, that was when NXT was still black and gold. Kevin Owens made his debut. Beat Cena. Like, that's my point. It's not about, and you know, Cena beat Kevin Owens more often than not. It didn't hurt Kevin Owens at all. But when Cena was the WWE champion at the time, it really didn't help matters. You just beat everyone. And the only reason why you lost the title the first time around is because you got injured. It's like, what the hell? Rusev, I know Rusev was made because of Cena, to a point. The Tank and that, like Rusev was a made man because of that United States title and his rivalry with Cena. It helped, like again, it helped. Even though Cena beat him, it did help establish Rusev more as a star. Wait, why am I? I'm not. No. I'm gonna continue without saving. Yes, and then we're gonna save over that one. We're just gonna see what the actual story is for CM Punk. I actually forgot. I remember it had something to do with Tommy Dreamer and Taz and whatnot. I just don't remember the actual story. I'm trying to see what the actual story is playing out here. What was the oh, you did say that. My apologies. What was the most shocking heel turn besides Hogan? I mean, you have Stone Cold, but I was like 5 when that happened, when Stone Cold turned heel. In terms of modern day someone turning heel, I mean, well, it's hard to say. I mean, the execution was poor, but I think it would have to be John Cena. No, actually, I mean, the execution was poor, but I think personally, the most shocking heel turn, because it was just the timing of it, was Dean Ambrose on Seth Rollins. I wasn't shocking. I knew that was coming. Like, I did not see Dean Ambrose heel turn coming at all. It's the ones that you don't see coming. I did not see that heel turn coming. Unfortunately, it didn't come up of nothing out of it. But I think, for me personally, I think Dean Ambrose's heel turn. But okay, so let's see CM Punk's story real quick. What is happening here?
Right in front of you, if you feel lucky. This is ECW. We solve disputes.
Tom G, ECW champion over this time. It's hilarious.
Want to go at it again? What about an Extreme Rules match tonight? I'll even give the winner a shot at my ECW championship at the Royal Rumble.
I don't understand, because the current champion at this time, correct me if I'm wrong, was Matt Hardy. So why didn't they just? Well, it would have been Mark Henry during this time this game was being developed, so they could have gave it to him.
I don't hold back.
Was a change of point wrestling. So, no, I mean, that is true. But again, this is when I was alive. I mean, not alive. Was I alive when that? I think I was like 1 when that happened, when Hogan turned heel. Yeah, I think I was like literally. No, I think I was just born. Hogan's heel turn in 1996. I think I was just born. If you really want to get extreme in this match, I should put Jeff Hardy through a table. We're not going to do that. It wasn't terrible. It was just everything else out of it was terrible. It was misdirected. The actual heel turn itself was perfectly fine. Everything else after that was just completely. They were shooting in the dark because The Rock and no, I mean, I don't want you're not going to convince me that the John Cena heel turn was bad. It was not bad. It was a moment. No one can deny that. It's just everything else that came afterwards. I mean, to run my that's what I'm about to say. Like, no one in a straight face could convince me that the actual heel turn of John Cena was bad. It was perfect. The fact that The Rock didn't show up at WrestleMania is kind of when the heel turn meant nothing. Travis Scott, no one cared. It would have been more meaningful for The Rock because this whole situation with Cody Rhodes. That was basically the core of it. That was when it went downhill. Was him not showing up at WrestleMania. Did The Rock do that on purpose? I wondered. Did he really hate? Who did he hate more, Cody or John Cena, for him to do that? Now that I think about it, I wasn't lied to. I grew up watching old videotapes of Golden Era. To me, that was. I watched the VHS tapes of WCW Nitro. I had the Best of Nitro Volume 1. I had those tapes. But I'm just saying. I consider like the best heel turn when I was actually live and I experienced it. Stone Cold, I was 5. I remember it when it happened, but I don't think it really impacted me. But in terms of modern day, I have to say, like, I did not see that coming. Was probably Dean Ambrose. Act like John Cena never turned heel. He was a heel in his first run. Because I don't think people. I know, to the casual fan. So who first of all, who should we do next? I mean, your guy. You guys can pick. To the casual fan, people don't remember John Cena as a heel. People don't remember John Cena actually submitted before Rusev, because unfortunately, they can't mention the person who submitted him, the last person to submit him, because he doesn't exist anymore. Oh, Batista. Oh yeah, I'll pick Batista. So unfortunately, they couldn't say the last person who submitted him because that person doesn't exist anymore in the WWE canon. So they couldn't. So in a sense, technically, yeah. What do you think John Cena heel run would have been like in 2012? Well, let's see. Who did he fight in 2012? Once he lost to The Rock. Brock Lesnar. Who else? If you're wondering why I put it on, I'm just waiting for the video to play out. He fought Brock Lesnar. He fought John Laurinaitis. The problem with the John Cena turn heel that I'm looking at in retrospect, who would he have fought? Daniel Bryan would have been way too early. He was like off this plane of existence. Yeah, you're right. So again, I'm trying to think who would he have. I think the issue with, I think he should have turned heel after the pipe bomb. Which is true. It could have worked, but again, I know when people say like John Cena's going to turn heel after wrestling, he was supposed to. Again, John Cena said he was supposed to, but it's like I think Vince. I know people hate Vince McMahon's decisions sometimes, but you got to look at it from bigger picture. Really look at that. Oh, wrong.
WWE can be a pretty harsh landscape.
Really look at that roster at the time, 2012. Who would he have fought? CM Punk. That's the only person. Randy Orton was on SmackDown. Who would he have fought as a heel that would have benefited? You see what I play? Yeah, you see my plate? I mean, well, Lord Turns out was one people that he fought, but yeah, like really look at that roster. Actually, we're gonna look at the roster once we get to WWE 13. But it's like, who could he have fought that would have benefited his heel? Like, because the point of a heel is to get the baby face over. So if John Cena would have turned heel that time, who would that got over? You already fought CM Punk. That's my point. It's like I know people hate Vince, but it's like he understood business. Regardless of how people want to, maybe not near the end. There's argument to be made there, but during that time period, he knew exactly what he was doing. There's a reason why WrestleMania. What about Tenzai? That wasn't gonna fucking work. We both know that. The only person that probably would have benefited was Daniel Bryan, but he was still on SmackDown at the time, so that wouldn't have worked. That's why I said Daniel Bryan, but that was a year too early. That was just a year too early. I think he did get traded to Raw, to be fair. Oh wait, god damn it! They always got to play the goddamn music. Sin card. Maybe if they really want to put their eggs in. I mean, they could have made the rest. I guess they could have made the next Rey Mysterio, but I think they already gave up on him by that point. Like, really look at that roster. Like, I'm being so serious. Once we get to WWE 13, we're gonna look at that roster. Outside of the Shield, who debuted during that year, there would have been. I mean, Ryback. You could have made Ryback. I guess Ryback was. I know people hate Ryback. And I mean, people don't have the same reception that they had of Ryback because Ryback was over back in 2012. I know people like to misremember that. I'm not saying he was Goldberg, but he was like, I know this is going to be a horrible comparison, but it's the best comparison I got. He was basically what Obafemi Ober is now. That's how over Ryback was. People hate that from him, but he was like over back in 2012. Even though it was brief, but he was like, yeah. The crowd blew up when Ryback came out. I know that's going to sound crazy to some people to hear that, but that was, they think that would be the only person. Drew, he was on a downward spiral at that point because the three-man band was just only a few months. I mean, that could have benefited. You're right. I think maybe, but Drew wasn't a face though. This is my point. They would have had to turn someone face. I don't think Drew McIntyre. I guess, like I said, they would have to turn someone face. Well, we're gonna look at the WWE 12 roster when we get to it, the 2011 roster. So we're gonna see who was on the roster that could have benefited. But honestly, it would have been no one. I mean, personally. Cody Rhodes was on SmackDown. I know the bracelet really didn't matter. I'm just being honest though. That's what I'm really looking. John Morrison was gone. I say John Morrison. John Morrison was gone. John Morrison would have been the only beneficiary of it, but he was gone. That would have required him to go to Raw. Essentially, again, if in case the point I'm trying to make is, if you haven't noticed, the reason why John Cena was a face because there was literally, was you a fan of Otunga? I liked his song. That's my only answer. I liked his song. He had a great song. Everyone had a great song back then. I liked his song. That's pretty much it. I was a fan of the Nexus in general, but like Miz. Actually, you know what? Miz was turning face slowly in 2000. You're absolutely right. Miz might have been the only one. As a matter of fact, you're right. How can we forget Miz? Miz was slowly turning a face back then, and actually, the storyline would have made so much sense back then. Huh. I think. Well, we know he killed the Nexus group, and he admits it himself. SummerSlam, had SummerSlam not play out the way it did, Nexus would probably, all of them would probably still have jobs. To be honest with you, I mean, not everyone was gonna get over from that group. Like, I mean, no disrespect, I don't think Michael Tarver was gonna get anywhere outside of the Nexus, but people like David Otunga would have sure as hell benefited Justin Gabriel for sure. But Wade does. I said it. Not everyone. Like, there's certain people who grew out of it. Wade Barrett and Heath Slater at the time were basically the only people that still had financial security after that. Daniel Bryan was already out of it. Skip became Ryback. So they repackaged him. But I'm talking about in terms of other people. Everyone's remember Husky Harris. But he wasn't part of that Nexus group. I know what you're talking about. But him and Michael McGillicuddy came after the fact. When John Cena already basically killed the Nexus. But yeah, like looking at that Raw roster, there's no one. There's literally no one.
1, 2.
Miz kicking out the Batista bomb. I respect it. What the hell is his signature? Mason. All right. They were trying to make him the next Batista. It was just never gonna work. I know what they were doing with Mason Ryan. It was never gonna work. But like, really look at the two. Actually, we're gonna look. Actually, you know what? I'm about to look at it right after this. I'm looking at the 2012 roster. We're gonna look at it live. I have to see who was on the Raw roster at the time. Like who could have flipped over? No, I think he already left. I think that was the problem. He already left.
1, 2, 3.
There we go. All right. As this cutscene's playing out, I'm gonna look up the actual roster. WWE 12 roster. I'm just curious who could. I think outside of Miz, I think that's the person. Who said that? Who said Miz? No one said Miz. Yeah. Was essentially the only person that they could have flipped. Like as a legitimate baby face. The only one probably would have went with like in terms of Cena, like fighting Cena. He was essentially the only person. R-Truth, but he had his chance in 2011. They blew it. All right, so quick sidetrack. I pulled up the per SmackDown Hotel. This was the 2012 roster, who was heels and baby faces, and this is what I mean. The upper card. It was Sheamus. Sheamus was on SmackDown. That's why it's like none of. And now who could they have flipped as a heel? Again, Dan Bryan was on Dolph Ziggler. Oh, it was Dolph Ziggler. So Dolph Ziggler would have been the only option. There you go. Alberto Del Rio, that was never going to work against John Cena. I could see people cheering Dolph Ziggler over John Cena if John Cena was a heel. So there you go. Dolph Ziggler would have been the only person. Kane, I mean, whatever. Cesaro wasn't ready yet. So the problem is Cesaro wasn't ready. We're trying to see who could have turned heel. The Shield just showed up. Cody Rhodes, maybe, but he was on SmackDown. Essentially, Dolph Ziggler was the only person where, if they wanted to move Dolph Ziggler over to the face side and actually fought Cena and benefited, yeah, it would have been Dolph. Dolph would have been the only person. Wade Barrett being face was never going to work. The Miz, as I said as well, Jack Swagger was not going to work. So you had Miz and Dolph Ziggler. Big E would have just came, that would have worked, and Cesaro would have just came, that would never worked. Christian was already a face. See, the problem is, the point was Cena turning heel will require someone to turn face. That's what we were talking about. For Cena to turn heel, someone also would have to turn face to benefit, so that person could benefit from fighting Cena as a face. And that the only people that would have benefited would have been Dolph Ziggler from this list right here and The Miz. Christian, I mean, they were never going to give Christian the WWE title. Let's be real. But Miz and Dolph Ziggler, they still had chances. Jericho was on and off though at this time. Like he showed up and then he didn't show up again after what? Once he did his feud with CM Punk, he pretty much left. And he didn't come back really until like the fall of that year. So that wouldn't have worked. He was more of a part-timer back then. He wasn't there all the time. They did give him a chance to start with Randy. That is true, you're right. And I mean, in terms of like lower card, I'm looking. Who would have? Damian Sandow, unless he turned face, maybe. But then it was right again. The answer, in terms of the actual people being face, it would have been like who would have really benefited. Ryback was already over, as you said, Christian. Evan Bourne, they would never get Evan Bourne that position. I'm talking people who legitimately had that position. Kofi Kingston was not considered a single star at that point. R-Truth's time came and go. Ryback was already in that position. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Unless you saw him feuding with a babyface Sheamus, that Alex Riley. All right. No, I think Cena hated Alex Riley per Alex Riley himself. I think Cena hated him, so that was never gonna work. But yeah, I don't think that was gonna happen. Actually, I might as well save it on this. So, as per tradition at this point, we're gonna look at the SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 soundtrack. It's not up there with me in terms of 2007 and the original SmackDown versus Raw soundtrack, but they had some good songs. Again, Egypt Central carried the soundtrack for me with Taking You Down and You Make Me Sick, one of my favorite songs of all time. It doesn't work for me, brother. On Alex Riley, yeah, he hated Alex Riley. That was never going to work. So if you wonder why John Cena stayed a face 2012, look at that roster. You can see the reason why he stayed a baby face. There's your reason. There was no depth. There was on if Cena would have turned heel, who would he have fought that he didn't already fight? Randy Orton, CM Punk. He already fought those people. But again, Egypt Central, You Make Me Sick, arguably the best song in this entire soundtrack. Then you had Burn Halo. I liked it. What else was on here? Better Than Me. I like that as well. And you can't miss with Disturb with Perfect Insanity. The other ones I was like, I don't care. I mean, they were fine, but pretty much for me it was Egypt Central, Burn Halo, and Disturbed for me, and Six. I did like the song Better Than Me. Dead Man Walking is good too. I actually don't remember this. I got re-listen to this song. That's why I said like 2007 and the original SmackDown versus Raw for me was they had like it was like the perfect matches of song. They all fit together. 2008 and 2009, they're good songs, but they don't all fit together. Like 2006 was like what they're with me. There were some great songs in 2006, but they didn't really mesh well. I think 2007 and the original one was perfect for me. But yeah, so just personally, final thoughts on SmackDown versus Raw 2009. As I said, 2009 is an interesting game because, as I said earlier, for those who weren't aware, who were not here earlier, THQ and Ukes had a vision of this game, but it needed more than a year for it to be complete, which is SmackDown versus Raw 2010, which we're going to be looking at tomorrow. But because they had to release a WWE game every year, they had to put out something. So they only put out a part of that vision. So that's why it's like, in a vacuum, SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 is a fine game. Just do not play 2010, because the second you play 2010, this game becomes absolutely pointless. Partly because they decided to put all the marketing towards the tag team match, but they should have just focused on Road to WrestleMania, which you can't play these Road to WrestleMania stories in the other games. So if they had to market towards that, I feel like 2009 would have a little bit more replay value. By the way, this review I wanted to point out, I think perfectly. Where is it? Can I have it up? 1 second. I wanted to show you a review that someone had that perfectly. He essentially mimics what I'm trying to say here. A user review on Metacritic. It's a user's review, but the fact that he said this 2 years ago and stuck in my head. Because the entrances, I think, because 2010 was, I think, the last one that actually had licensed music. Hold on. Yeah, this guy right here. I think this guy sums up my full thoughts on 2006 had more of a me selection of the song, but they had Waiting by Not Forgotten, so I always enjoyed that song. It's just the wrestler theme for 2001, but it's still, I mean, Christian's theme will always be a banger to me. So like 2011, it worked. Christian's theme will always be a banger to me. This guy right here, I think he says it perfectly. It's like 08. It's all right with good gameplay, better story mode, but lacks compared to 7 and 8 replayability, like no GM mode, and that's basically the problem. It's one thing that they market all towards tag team matches, which again, the tag teams are fine, but it's only like 5 or 10% of the actual entirety of the game. But by taking out replayability modes like GM mode and the season mode, and Road WrestleMania fine is a perfect replacement of that, but without GM mode, there's basically no replay value. No one was ever going to touch that career mode. That career mode is garbage. So it's like, in a vacuum, 2009 is fine, but the second you play 2010, there's really no replay value of 09. It's not a bad game. It's just, that's just my personal opinion. And as you saw with it, again, it has some bright spot, the Road WrestleMania stories, but once you complete it twice for each one, it's like, well, that's it. Unless you're really nostalgic for those stories. I mean, I'm always a good fan of Tony, and like, I probably am going to play it once again with CM Punk. I completely forgot that story. So there's that. Which one do you prefer? 2004, Just Close Your Eyes, or Record? I like both equally. I know that's a cop-out answer. They are both good in their own right. For Just Close Your Eyes, they're both good in their own right. Personally, my opinion. All right. I know that's a cop-out, but gun to my head, I have to go with the re-recorded one. Just because I'm just so used to hearing it. but they're so good in their own right. Crazy W12 didn't have a soundtrack. Although someone made a fan soundtrack that they put on Wikipedia, I'm going to actually show that once we get the WWE 12. Had that actually had a soundtrack, I think that would have been good. But yeah, there's that. So thank you all who watched. I just want to give, for people who watch live, I appreciate it. Homeboy Sean, Slade Hill. A lot of you guys are actually being reoccurring people that are showing up every day. First of all, I appreciate that. This is a 25-day event, so I don't expect everyone to be here every day, but those who are actually here live and chatting or just watching on your TV, I deeply appreciate this. I didn't think anyone was going to show up. I was just going to be talking to myself most of these streams for 25 days straight. But the fact that there are people here watching, just me rambling about my opinions of these old wrestling games, that really means a lot to me, guys. I just want to personally say that. I know I didn't mention that before. That just really means a lot to me. No one was here. Colton, Cyclone, Slade, I already said that. How do you Kwamir Barnes? I just want to make sure I pronounce your name right. It would be easier if I just say Barnes, but I appreciate you being here. Who else? And Mustafa was here as well as Noah. So again, I appreciate you guys. Stream was really good. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. We'll be back tomorrow with SmackDown Raw 2010, which again, in my opinion, was the completed vision of what 2009 was trying to show, but they just needed the extra year to see that vision. You saw glimpses of it with Creative Finisher and Highlight Reel, but you're going to see the full idea of what UC THQ was trying to do with SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.